Good morning. Today is Friday, February 14th, 2025. This week's Torah portion, the Parsha of Yisro, includes the Aseres HaDibros, the Ten Commandments, which includes, of course, the famous verse, Zachor es Yom HaShabbos l'kadsho. Remember the Sabbath day and keep it holy. There's a famous story in the Talmud, and it's an enigmatic story. And it goes like this. The Talmud says, it's Masechta Shabbos 33b. The Talmud tells a story about Rabbi Shimon bar Yochai, Rashbi, who is traditionally assumed to be the writer of the Zohar, the central text of Jewish mysticism. It's not, that's a disputed issue, but Rashbi, Rabbi Shimon bar Yochai, connected to Lag BaOmer, connected to Kabbalah and the Zohar. Okay, so there came a time when Rabbi Shimon bar Yochai and his son were the subject of a search by the Romans. They were looking for them to arrest them. And so to escape that, Rabbi Shimon bar Yochai and his son, they hid in a cave. And it was a supernatural existence. They were in this cave, and they were there for 12 years alone, just the two of them. And there was a carob tree right in front of the cage, and there was a stream of water, and they were able to live. They were able to survive for 12 years just on that, the carob tree, the water, hiding from the Romans. 12 years, they didn't see another human being during that time. And of course, during that time, they were secluded in prayer and study. It was a purely spiritual existence. Studying Torah, praying to Hashem, that's it, the two of them together. Then after 12 years, after 12 years, they heard that the Roman decree had been rescinded. They were no longer in danger. So, Rabbi Shimon and his son left the cave. But the years of seclusion and the pure spiritual existence that they had experienced over the previous 12 years had transformed them. And when they came out of the cave, and they saw people going about their mundane activities. Talking about during the week. They're plowing fields, and they're buying and selling, and they're going about their daily activities, whatever it is. But these two scholars were filled with outrage. How could you be doing such mundane things? Why aren't you only studying Torah and praying to Hashem? They couldn't understand it, and they were so enraged that the Talmud says wherever they looked, if they looked at a person who was engaged in let's say a business or farming, wherever they looked, what they looked at burned in fire. In other words, Rabbi Shimon and his son were unable to reconcile themselves to the realities of everyday life. And so there was a voice from heaven that said to them, go back to the cave. And they stayed in the cave a second time for 12 months, for a year. When they left the cave the second time, they came across a man who was holding 2 branches of hadassim, the myrtle leaves. You know, hadassim are very fragrant. And it was Friday afternoon, just before Shabbos, and this old man was running and carrying these 2 branches of hadassim. So Rabbi Shimon said to this man, what are the hadassim for? What are the myrtle branches for? So the man said, they're in honor of Shabbos. Now I have to tell you something. This is just in parentheses. I can remember years ago when I lived in Israel, I haven't ever seen it recently, but years ago, 40, 45 years ago, when I lived in Israel, I remember seeing people before Shabbos carrying branches of hadassim. Maybe it's still going on in some communities, but I remember seeing that. Okay, in any event, that's what this man was doing. So Rabbi Shimon said to him, why 2 branches? So the man said, one is for Zachor es Yom HaShabbos L'Kadsho, remember the Shabbos day and keep it holy, and the other is for Shamor es Yom HaShabbos L'Kadsho, guard the Shabbos day to keep it holy. You remember that the Aseret HaDibros, the 10 Commandments, are repeated. They occur once in our Torah portion, and then in later, near the end of the Torah, in Dvarim and Deuteronomy, in the Parsha Veschanan, they are repeated. And although they are almost the same, there are several slight differences in wording between the version in our Parsha and the version in Veschanan. And one of the differences is that in our Parsha, the Torah says, Zachor es Yom HaShabbos L'Kadsho, remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. And in Veschanan, it says, Shamor es Yom HaShabbos L'Kadsho, guard the Shabbos day to keep it holy. And our sages say that these 2 words, it's not 2 different versions. Rather, God said both of the words at the same time, something that a human being is not able to do. And so in one place, Zachor is written, in the other place, Shamor is written, but actually both of those words, because they're both levels or layers of our experience of Shabbos, they were both said at the same time. And actually, every Friday night, when we sing the song L'Chadodi, we say this, Shamor v'Zachor b'dibor echad. Both the word Shamor, to guard Shabbos, and the word Zachor, to remember Shabbos, were said with one word. Okay, so the man said, I'm carrying 2 branches of hadassim, something that smells very lovely and very sweet, one in honor of Zachor, and the other in honor of Shamor. At that point, Rabbi Shimon turned to his son, and he said to his son, see how precious the mitzvos are to the Jewish people. And their minds were put at ease, and they were able to reintegrate themselves into society. What was it about seeing a man holding 2 branches of hadassim that made a difference, that they were able to re-enter society when a year before they were not able to handle seeing anyone doing a mundane activity? What was it about the hadassim that made this difference? So I want to share with you a very creative answer given by Rabbi Avraham Kook, first chief rabbi of Israel, of blessed memory. He says that Shamor and Zachor correspond to 2 basic aspects of Shabbos. Shamor, which means to guard or to protect, means you're guarding or protecting the quality of the day of Shabbos. On Shabbos, guard, protect the holiness of the day, and don't do anything that would intrude or dissipate the holiness of the day. So Shamor means that on Shabbos, guard it and make sure that you're doing the right things and you're not doing the wrong things. Zachor, to remember the Shabbos day, does not apply only on Saturday. It applies all week long. All week long, we are supposed to remember Shabbos is coming, or we just finished Shabbos. As our rabbis explain, even during the week, if a person should come across, let's say on a Monday or a Tuesday, whatever day of the week, a person comes across something that's particularly delicious, it's a mitzvah to say, I am going to take this and reserve it for Shabbos. so that even during the week, I'm thinking about how to honor Shabbos, how to enjoy Shabbos, how to increase the holiness of the day. And therefore, while the word Shamor es Yom HaShabbos HaKadsho, guarding the Shabbos day, is limited to the hours of Shabbos itself, from Friday night till Saturday night, the 25 hours of Shabbos itself, Zachor es Yom HaShabbos HaKadsho is meant to allow the holiness of Shabbos to overflow the limits of the 25 hours of Shabbos and to seep into our consciousness all week long. In other words, while Shamor is something that is reserved exclusively for the holiness of Shabbos, Zachor means that we should look at the mundane world, the 6 days of the week that we're working, and there should be an aspect of holiness in those days. It should not be a dichotomy between Shabbos and Chol, where Shabbos is purely spiritual and the rest of the week is purely physical. No, Shabbos must overflow its boundaries and have an impact and effect on the rest of the days of the week. So yes, we're engaged in 6 days of the week, we're engaged in mundane activities, and we're doing our jobs, and we're going to school, and we're doing whatever it is that we're doing. But those mundane activities should be infused with the holiness of Shabbos. It should not be something that's separate. And this is what Rabbi Shimon and his son were able to see. They were able to see this man on Friday. So it's not Shabbos, but this man clearly is working towards preparing for the holiness of Shabbos by being able to smell the wonderful smells of the Hadassim on Shabbos. And when they saw that the holiness of Shabbos was able to pervade outside of Shabbos through the rest of the week, they were comfortable in being able to see that mundane activities were not separated from holiness, but could be influenced by it. And they were able to accommodate themselves to the realities of mundane life. On a superficial basis, a superficial level, the weekdays may appear to us to be mundane and lowly. But the truth is, even during the 6 days of the week, there is an inner reserve of holiness. There is a perfusion of the holiness of Shabbos that seeps through. When we understand that what we're doing during the week leads us to the holiness of Shabbos. And the two branches of Hadassim reflect this sensitivity to the holiness that can be found within the mundane aspects of our life. That's the goal of what Shabbos should do for us. It should transform our Saturday into Shabbos, a day that is spiritually uplifting, and it should influence the rest of our week to lead to that elevation and to have the holiness of Shabbos spill over and be combined within the mundane tasks of the week. Especially this Shabbos, when we read these words in the narrative that they were spoken directly by God to the entire Jewish people, we should consider Zachor and we should consider Shamor and remember Rabbi Kook's words, the way to observe Shabbos on Shabbos and the way to remember Shabbos all week long. My friends, I wish you a great day and a beautiful and meaningful Shabbos. And I look forward to seeing you soon in person.